第10158次会议现在开始。
Господин председатель, сегодня мы собрали срочное заседание Совета Безопасности в связи с очередным чудовищным терактом неонацистского киевского режима в отношении мирных россиян. Ночью 22 мая вооруженные формирования Украины, используя 4 беспилотных летательных аппаратов самолетного типа, прицельно нанесли удар по административным зданиям и общежитию Старобельского колледжа Луганского государственного педагогического университета. На момент происшествия в здании общежития находилось, по имеющимся данным, 86 учащихся в возрасте от 14 до 18 лет и 1 работник. В результате пятиэтажное здание обрушилось до 2-го этажа. По состоянию на 3 часа дня подтверждено, что 6 человек погибли, более 40 детей получили ранения разной степени тяжести. К сожалению, эта цифра может вырасти. Ряд детей находится в критическом состоянии в больнице, а поиски продолжаются. Под завалами все еще остаются дети. Кроме того, в Старобельске также повреждены административные здания, магазины и частные дома. В одном из них ранен мужчина. Следственным комитетом Российской Федерации возбуждено уголовное дело. Я не буду утруждать членов Совета фотографиями с места событий. Вот такими, например. Мы попросили китайское председательство распространить среди членов Совета эти фотографии с места преступления. Это преднамеренный удар по гражданскому объекту, где учатся и проживают дети, нанесенный в ночное время, когда общежитие было заполнено, был явно совершен с целью максимального количества жертв. Согласно международному гуманитарному праву, это является военным преступлением.
And now let us turn to the absurd accusations of the Russian representative regarding an alleged incident in Starobilsk that we just heard today. Russia has consistently denied, and we just heard this, they denied access to the temporary occupied territories of Ukraine since 2014 for all international monitoring mechanisms. There is no independent verification of all these baseless claims, as once again was confirmed by our distinguished briefers. So everything we hear today about Starobilsk is a pure propaganda show, nothing else. Such false accusations belong to a textbook disinformation campaign from Moscow, designed to deflect from its own war crimes and manipulate international public opinion. These groundless allegations fit a well-documented pattern of Russian disinformation operations. I would like to reiterate once again that Ukraine's defense forces operate under strict democratic oversight. They act in absolute compliance with international humanitarian law, including the principles of distinction, proportionality, and precaution. Ukraine only targets legitimate military targets and facilities used for military purposes.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The United States again calls for Russia to allow humanitarian workers to access areas under its control. While we await answers to those questions, we underscore the need for an immediate and comprehensive ceasefire as a means toward a durable, negotiated end to the war. This death and destruction must stop now. The United States once again calls on the Russian Federation and Ukraine to end the war, in which millions of people have suffered. We urge you to negotiate in good faith to end this violence. Out of your duty to protect and preserve the lives of your citizens, the fact that I even have to note this highlights the obscene absurdity of our situation. As President Trump has clearly and succinctly stated, I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people.
Inside Ukraine, and nearly 1.8 million children outside the country. The war in Ukraine continues to rage and devastate children's lives. According to reports, last night drone strikes hit a dormitory housing at least 86 adolescents aged 14 to 18 in the town of Starobilsk in the Luhansk region. The attack reportedly left 6 dead and dozens of others injured, including children. It is too early to know the full extent of the casualties, as we understand rescue operations are still unfolding. This is yet another example of children paying the price for a war that is not of their own making.
现在发言名单上没有其他人了，现在休会。
The toll of this war on civilians is staggering, still rising. The statistics bear repeating. Since February of 2022, the United Nations has recorded nearly 16,000 civilians killed and more than 44,000 injured. The real numbers are most certainly much higher. A ballistic missile struck a UNHCR contracted warehouse in Dnipro on the night of 19 to 20 May, killing 2 warehouse workers and destroying more than $1 million worth of aid, including blankets and hygiene kits intended for evacuees and people sheltering in collective sites. This is the 5th hit on humanitarian workers and assets in just 9 days. Excellencies, Mr. President, this must stop.
The reported incident in Starobilsk is a stark reminder of a broader and deeply troubling pattern. Attacks on schools continue to disrupt the education of millions of boys and girls in conflict-affected regions worldwide. When schools are damaged or destroyed, the consequences extend far beyond the immediate loss of infrastructure, sometimes of life too. In Ukraine, the impact of the war on education is tragic, and children's access to education and other essential services has been disrupted on a massive scale. According to UN-verified information, over 440 attacks on schools were verified in Ukraine during 2025, making it one of the situations on the children and armed conflict agenda most affected by this grave violation.
The need for this discussion could not be more urgent. The war in Ukraine continues to rage and devastate children's lives. According to reports, last night drone strikes hit a dormitory housing at least 86 adolescents aged 14 to 18 in the town of Starobilsk in the Luhansk region. The attack reportedly left 6 dead and dozens of others injured, including children. It is too early to know the full extent of the casualties, as we understand rescue operations are still unfolding. This is yet another example of children paying the price for a war that is not of their own making. According to verified UN data, more than 3,400 children have now been killed or injured since the escalation of the war in 2022. We remain particularly concerned about attacks on schools and the devastating effect it is having on students, teachers, and learning. More than 1,780 educational facilities have been verified as damaged or destroyed since 2022. This impacts access to learning today and disrupts education for the years to come. During more than 4 years of war, children have also been forced to flee their homes on multiple occasions. More than a third of Ukraine's children, 2.6 million, remain displaced, including more than 791,000 children inside Ukraine and nearly 1.8 million children outside the country. According to a recent UNICEF survey, 1 in 3 adolescents aged 15 to 19 reported moving at least twice, citing safety as the most common reason for fleeing.
Ночью 22 мая вооруженные формирования Украины, используя 4 беспилотных летательных аппаратов самолетного типа, прицельно нанесли удар по административным зданиям и общежитию Старобельского колледжа Луганского государственного педагогического университета. На момент происшествия в здании общежития находилось, по имеющимся данным, 86 учащихся в возрасте от 14 до 18 лет и 1 работник. В результате пятиэтажное здание обрушилось до 2-го этажа. По состоянию на 3 часа дня подтверждено, что 6 человек погибли, более 40 детей получили ранения разной степени тяжести. К сожалению, эта цифра может вырасти. Ряд детей находится в критическом состоянии в больнице, а поиски продолжаются. Под завалами все еще остаются дети. Кроме того, в Старобельске также повреждены административные здания, магазины и частные дома. В одном из них ранен мужчина. Следственным комитетом Российской Федерации возбуждено уголовное дело. Я не буду утруждать членов Совета фотографиями с места событий. Вот такими, например. Мы попросили китайское председательство распространить среди членов Совета эти фотографии с места преступления.
What we have been witnessing over recent months, both at the previous meetings of this Council and today, is a shameless attempt by the Russian Federation to turn reality upside down and to present itself here as a victim. This recurring exercise in political theater staged by Russia in this chamber is not only entirely predictable, but also profoundly disrespectful to the members of this Council. Russia has consistently denied, and we just heard this, they denied access to the temporary occupied territories of Ukraine since 2014 for all international monitoring mechanisms. There is no independent verification of all these baseless claims, as once again was confirmed by our distinguished briefers. So everything we hear today about Starobilsk is a pure propaganda show, nothing else. Such false accusations belong to a textbook disinformation campaign from Moscow designed to deflect from its own war crimes and manipulate international public opinion.